excited today to be going live and sharing about Lady Gaga and Madonna today because I think that we can. Okay, cool. I've got my comments up. We'll be able to respond. So let me know if you're here. Say hi if you're here. And if you're not here, if you're here catching this on the replay, or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can say what's up too. I'd love to hear from you. So today I'm going to be sharing about these two dynamic individuals who you can see I like sub filter, my sub tag is spectacles, right? So that I could just have their two charts here and you wouldn't see like 400 charts. But yeah, two major spectacles, right? We can both agree that Madonna and Lady Gaga are both spectacles. So I always love to do like little compare and contrasts every now and then. And it's so funny because I look in my Facebook memories and this day last year, I did another celeb compare and contrast. So I don't know, weird. What's up, February 7th? So today I want to talk about Madonna and Lady Gaga, and I want to share a little bit about what they have in common, right? And what they don't have in common, right? What actually like sets them apart and makes them different as individuals. Because on the surface, I think that especially when they were both like getting started, they're almost like they're very comparable, right? That they were very visually challenging for people, right? If you go back to the 80s and you look at Madonna and some of her like very garish and outlandish outfits, it felt like, you know, Lady Gaga was almost sort of reminiscent of that, right? And so I think it's natural to want to pull up their two charts and kind of see where things are the same and where things are a little bit different. And something that really stood out to me was their profile and incarnation cross. As far as what they have in common, they're both pure generators, right? Pure generators, similar to Beyonce. They're designed for mastery, people who are meant to really get good at the thing that they are on the planet to do, right? And so Madonna, Lady Gaga, they are both pure generators, meaning that they have a sacral authority for their authority and that they are of the generator type. So the two things that they have in common, other than being generators, because it's not that uncommon to be a generator, but 70% of the population are either generators or manifesting generators. So with that said, the two things that they have in common, number one, are their profile. Both Madonna and Lady Gaga have a 5-1 profile. I just talked about the 5-1 profile the other day when referencing Taylor Swift, because people who have that 5 in their profile, and Gary Vee, even yesterday talking about Gary Vee, he's a 3-5 profile. But when you have the 5 in your profile, and especially the 5 in the first number of your profile, it's all about your personality. And so people who have that 5 in their profile are people who can't help but be a little triggering, or to be a little if not abrasive, it's not necessarily abrasive, but people are just going to have a very visceral reaction to you. People love you or they hate you when you have a line 5 in your profile. So the very, the hugest thing for you, if you have a line 5 in your profile, is to remember that other people's opinions are not your problem. Okay, your problem, your job, I shouldn't say problem, your job is to be in your truth and to share yourself naturally. And so Lady Gaga and Madonna both having that 5-1 profile, I was not particularly shocked. Now, something that I thought was just interesting, again, not shocking, but very interesting to see, is that they both have left angle crosses. And I haven't talked much about the angles in human design, but just to give you a very brief understanding, you're either going to have a right angle cross, a juxtaposition cross, or a left angle cross, right? Right, left, juxtaposition. When you have a right angle cross, that's most of us. I have a right angle cross myself. It's a personal life path, personal journey. You're here to learn things about yourself so that you might be able to teach it to other people or share it with the people in your life, right? But it's more about like, I'm more on a personal journey. I'm here to learn my own lessons. People who have a left angle cross are really meant to share themselves with the world, not just share themselves with the world, but something about who they are and what they believe in and what they brought into the world is meant to affect change and societally on a societal level. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has a left angle cross. And so both of these ladies also have a left angle cross. You can see their crosses are pretty like true to character as well. Madonna has a left angle cross of revolution, and Lady Gaga has the left angle cross of upheaval, right? And I think that both of those are so on for them, just really, really fitting for them. So those are some of the things that they have in common. Some of the things, being that they are both pure generators, both have that kind of triggering 5-1 profile where people either love you because they see something in you that they know that they love and maybe they could have, and it's part of them too. Or they see you just out there doing the thing that they told themselves so long ago, like, this is wrong, I can't do it, I should be ashamed of this. And so you coming out, and especially for people like Gaga and Madonna, a lot of it has to do with femininity and sexuality and expressing yourself. And then Gaga has brought in a lot of LGBT issues to the forefront. And I think that does trigger a lot of people who have said like, oh, that's not allowed, or that's taboo, or right, they're here to really challenge things like that. And so they sure have done it. Go them. That 5-1 profile, more power to them. Now, something that really struck me, right, because again, I mentioned they're spectacles, they are, and maybe not so much anymore, right, because they've already got our attention, right? But I want to point out two things in particular, something that is different about each of them that explains a lot about how they came onto the surface, right? And how they started showing up. Because again, if you go back to the 80s, if you look at Madonna when she was really first breaking out onto the scene, it was interesting because the way that it happened, I don't think was she wasn't necessarily being like outlandish for the attention of it all. It was more like, this is who I am and deal with it, right? And she was just very like bold about it, but definitely in your face, definitely someone who might was ahead of her time and a little bit triggering for people, but I never took it as look at me, right? I never really saw it that way. And let me know in the comments if you feel differently. Maybe I've got, right, I only live in my own body and I only have my own perception, but that just never seemed to be what it was. Whereas when you go look at Lady Gaga, right, she's got defined will. So she's always known that she's meant for fame. She's always known that she's meant for greatness, that she's meant for big things. But having this wide open throat, look, not a one center, not one gate defined in that throat. Lady Gaga, and if you go watch her Netflix documentary, she definitely talks about this a lot. She talks about feeling like she wasn't enough. Right. She talks about her being criticized for like her nose and the way that she looks. So she never really felt beautiful. And so she felt like she had to be this like spectacle in order for herself. That was her brand in the beginning, right? Like meat dresses and like Beanie Baby dresses, right? Do you guys remember this? Back when Lady Gaga first started, it was very much about the spectacle of it all. But once once she had our attention and once our eyes were on her, it's almost like that slowly faded away, right? And if you look at that open throat, she had our attention at that point. But when you have a wide open throat like this, look at that not self question. Am I trying to attract attention? Right? If you're someone who's out here friends with a lot of people who are in the entrepreneurial community or in the online marketing community, right? So you're all trying to figure out a way to brand yourself, or I guess it's 2020, you're on the internet, everyone's trying to figure out how to brand themselves or what that means for them, right? And so a lot of people who are not just trying to brand themselves, but are also trying to make a living out here, I see a lot in people who have an open throat, people who think, oh, I've got to have my website just right, or I've got to have a perfect logo, I've got to have professional photos done. Everything needs to look a certain way in order for me to command respect and attention. And I'll have you know that there are lots of people out there who are just doing it without any of those fancy frills. One of my clients last year made over $90,000, and she only launched her website, her very, very, very minimal website that was basically a store website upgraded, in the fourth quarter of the year. Right. So there was no logo, there was no, right. She was just posting and sharing and doing her thing. And so that's very open. She has an open throat, right? And I want you to understand, you don't need to attract attention. It's just a pressure that one may feel. So whereas Madonna, I feel like, burst onto the scene, but was more like, deal with it. Like, this is me. And she sort of phased out, the weirdness a little bit, I suppose, but it never really felt contrived. It never really felt like a character that she was trying to play. It very much felt like that was who she was at that age in her life. Whereas Lady Gaga, it definitely did feel like, oh, this is a character performance on stage, right? That it was a persona, right? It was Lady Gaga, whereas, her name is Stephanie, correct? Right? So like she has a name and she goes by it. And so anyway, so these were just some of the major similarities and the major differences that I saw between the two of them. And I thought it would be fun to do a little compare and contrast and just share some of those things with you. So let me know in the comments if this was helpful for you. Maybe you've got a 5 in your profile and you're like, why do I just trigger people all the time? I don't know. Just understand you're in great company, right? You're in the company of Madonna. You're in the company of Lady Gaga. You're in the company of Taylor Swift. She also has a 5-1 profile. So you're in the company of people who are, you're here to heal. Okay. And, maybe you've got an open throat and you've been thinking to yourself, oh, that so is me. I do think I need everything to be perfect and everything to be perfectly branded in order for me to be respected and seen as an authority online. And, I'm definitely here to share with you, like Lady Gaga still commands a lot of attention when she is Stephanie at the piano, right? She's just purely talented. She is. And the more that she leans into that and trusts that, the more that everyone has an opportunity to really love her, right? So that's it for today. I would love if you're here on Facebook, let me know who are some people who like inspire you or who you're like interested in, or you see them and you're like, wow, I wonder why they are the way they are. I'd love to go live and share some of their charts with you. Or if you're on YouTube, because I do upload these to YouTube on Fridays, if you want to request a chart, feel free to drop that into the comments as well. And until next time, I love you guys so, so much. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye now.